It's 2 o'clock. Welcome to the Oblivion Gallery and to the first Saturday of the month Art Hop event. We're really glad that you could join us here today. It's a thrill to bring art and community and do it in this way. If you're new to the Art Hop, there are 10 participating stops on the Art Hop this month. There's a map here that you can get, and this month, to celebrate the 2-year anniversary of the Art Hop, one of our stops is offering free Art Hop t-shirts. You just got to get 4 stamps from 4 locations on the Art Hop, and everybody's got a stamp or a rabbit sticker and can fill your bingo card and you get a free t-shirt. But today we are honored to have our guest artist, Ben Silver, who's a glass sculptor and a local artist. He showed with the gallery one other time last year, and this is the first time we've invited an artist back to show again. We just really love what he does, how he does it, and how he shows up professionally as an artist. So he's going to talk a little bit about his work and take questions, and please welcome Ben Silver.
Thanks, Judd. I wish Judd could speak for me because he's such a good speaker. But yeah, I've been blowing glass since 2007. So, and all pretty much here in Eugene. I've traveled like a little bit to work out at Corning Museum of Glass in New York and Pilchuck Glass School up in Seattle. It's kind of the 2 main hubs where there's like you can get really good education from some of the best artists out there. But when I got to Eugene in 2007, I kind of specifically came here for glass because at that time it was a pretty good hub for it. There was a public place called the Eugene Glass School, and you could kind of just wander in there and watch other artists work, and that's kind of how I started. I was literally just hanging out at the shop every day, just watching people work. Because if you don't know anything about glass, it's really hard to even help, because there's not much. You're kind of just getting in the way. So I would just hang out until eventually I could just do little things, and then it just kind of gradually kept going from there. And it probably took me about 9 years before I was felt like I could actually blow glass. But even when I first started, after the first year, I was just doing Saturday market and little things like Etsy stores and just trying to monetize it. I loved it so much, compared to anything else I'd ever done, that I was just fixated on monetizing it and making it work for me so I could do it full time. And so it's this kind of dynamic of love and suffering at the same time, constantly. You love it. I love the material. That's really what attracted me to it most, is just the way the material moves when it's hot. It's just so alien, and it flows, and even making something like this really expresses the material because it's alive. It just moves, and so I do try to make stuff that kind of acknowledges that movement, and I lost my train of thought, but. Yeah, it's just, it's equal parts love and suffering, really. It's because you just want to do it all the time, but it's such an expensive thing to do. And then, you're constantly worried about, making something that not only I like, but other people like. But there's really nothing else I can imagine doing at this point. And now it's been, 17, 18 years I'm in it. And actually, I knew that when I first started. People would always tell you, it takes 15 years to get good at this. So I kind of just committed to doing 15 years, and I say where I'm at now is I would be super happy back then. I would be like, wow, I made it, and because now I do have my own shop. It's off Prairie Road. You're all welcome to come at some point. But I built a lot of my own equipment. It's a lot of pretty heavy duty equipment. So I learned how to weld. I learned how to weld probably 5 years into it. I started thinking, I need to be able to, help other people out. So I thought, if I learn how to weld, I can help them fix their equipment or build equipment. So that kind of got me into other relationships with other glass artists. And then from building equipment and stuff, I started just figuring out ways to display the glass and, using metal as an accessory to it. And that's been really fun too, because if you don't obviously use a metal stand, you're pretty much just tabletop. It has to have a flat spot, you know. So this kind of offers you other ways to go about it. But on top of the glass blowing, I do what's called cold working, which is the process of like cutting, grinding, and polishing the glass. And that's like super laborious, very meticulous work. You know, when I grind something, like this is a really good example. Like, so the glass is shaped completely round, but then once it's cool, then it's at room temperature, I'll grind like each one individually, you know, starting from like a rough grit, 60 grit, and you go down all the way to a polish. So it's like probably 5 or 6 steps each one, you know, so it's like hours and hours of work. But the end result, it just transforms the glass. You know, if you ever come to my shop, I could show you more examples, but it's amazing that what you can do by cutting into the glass, you know, and basically erasing color on the outside. It, you know, reveals the clear, which creates like more optics and visual effects in the glass. And that's like a really interesting thing to do. A while ago, actually when my son was born, I started getting into making bowls. And yeah, here's one example. I was just using like opaque colors, and I'll actually create all those individual tiles separately and kind of stick them together. And then once they're all stuck together, you can create your forms out of that. But I don't know, I've just been really attracted to the bowls because of just like what they represent, you know, and their stubbornness and their power. And that's, I guess, what my journey is really all about, is just pushing through and just like being persistent. And I'd say that's the #1 reason why I'm still a glass artist, you know, compared to other people who have tried to blow glass, is because like I just never gave up, you know, I just kept doing it. Consistency is probably my best strength at this point. But yeah, that example right there, that bowl, that took me like a couple of years to make, because normally I'm just kind of making like production work. You know, I have like some galleries and some online work that just kind of sells consistently different items. And so when I want to make something, you know, out of the box, it takes me longer to complete. But a lot of the examples here are stuff that I'll work on when I have time, rather than what I have to do to just pay the bills. But even the stuff that just pays the bills is still a good practice. You know, it's a lot of just, like I have some galleries in Hawaii, and so I make a lot of like sea life stuff, shells and waves and so on. But I really like making just like abstract things and things that just express a little movement. Yeah, the bowl itself is just made of found objects, nuts and bolts. The horns are all glass too. The reason they look like metal is just because of the specific color I used. It has like metal oxides in it, so when you hit it with a certain kind of flame, like a more gas than air, I guess, it brings out those colors. And like the gate is an example of me trying to incorporate metal more. I've done a few gates, mostly for myself, but I have done some for other clients and so on. But yeah, I'm just always constantly trying to find ways to keep the business going. And that's pretty much it. You know, I'm always interested in it. Like, if it was up to me, I would just, it is up to me, I guess, but I do it all the time. But, you know, so I'm trying to get my son involved in it more so we can spend time doing that too. But yeah, I don't know, if you guys have any questions, happy to answer.
It's really cool to see, because last year you brought a lot of stuff that I guess you made for your just regular accounts. Like the seashells that you do are amazing. The conch shells, like he makes these really beautiful glass conch shells out of glass, and then the waves are all like that. I mean, it sounds like you're tired from making those, 'cause you make a lot.
A little bit.
But you're really good at it. We just had somebody come back who saw your work last year who was talking, oh yeah, he's the guy who makes the crystals, the glass, like the crystal clusters. They were like these really big, they look like crystal clusters, but it was all out of glass, like just cool stuff. So it's nice to see this year the stuff that you're interested in showing off. I was also curious about the cupcakes.
Yeah, well, those cupcakes were actually kind of an older thing that I made for a while that I had on the shelf, so I thought I'd bring them, but just to fill the space, really. But
was that from the Blown Away? Did you do cupcakes?
Oh, no.
No.
I wish I did, because I think that would have helped, yeah.
There's a Netflix show called Blown Away that's a cool glass competition show, and Ben was on season 2 of that show.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we saw you on that.
You saw me? I mean, it was, that was a crazy experience, because that was like, you apply to get on the show. They only had the first season. As soon as I saw the first season, I was like, oh, I want to do that. It looks so easy, And I was so wrong, because it was very hard. Like, the atmosphere is what made it hard, the environment of having cameras around, people telling you to sit down and wait, and then, like all this other stuff. And I was like the second person eliminated out of 10 people, so I was only there for 2 shows. But yeah, when I got on the show, I was like, oh, I hit the home run of my life. Like, I'm gonna like make it now, and I'm gonna sell so much work. And then like I was gone in 2 shows, and I hardly heard anything from actual clients. But yeah, that was really a hard pill to swallow, that I didn't do well on it. But it actually like got me really fired up to just keep practicing, get better, and just I wasn't going to stop because I didn't do good, but it was cool.
Were there any artists that you were left inspired by, who you competed with on the show?
Yeah, I was inspired by anybody who did well on the show, really. Even the guys that didn't, because just the environment was so hard. I was really amazed by people who like were able to stay focused and just like not seem so affected, even though it's tiring because you're in a hotel the whole time. And even though I was only there for 2 shows, I think I was still there for like 2 weeks, because that's how much they space everything out. So the guys who were there for all 10 shows, they were there for months, several months.
I was going to say, it's not that you didn't do well, it's just that there are a lot of good artists there.
Yeah, no, there's good art. And even some of the, in the glass world, people could point to like, oh, that person, they've been doing it for 30 years, like, they're going to win, like, they're so good. But there was people that were extremely good in the real world who didn't do good on the show because of a lot of it's luck and who's the judge. The judge could have been like a ballerina or a cook, and you're just like, okay, they eliminated me. Yeah.
Okay, so you should have your gallery on this thing.
Yeah.
Spot sometime.
It's a really weird spot, because my shop is actually located inside Lane Forest Products on Prairie Road. Because it's a kind of an interesting story. One day I'll get to you in a sec, Noah. One day I was kind of a little bit left like, oh man, I need to sell some stuff. And I was walking around Lane Forest with my mom, and she was like, oh, you can make one of these trellises. It was like a metal trellis that they have. They have some metal trellis stuff around. I was like, yeah, I could do that. So I just called Lane Forest. I called the owner, left a message and said, hey, I make metal art, which I really didn't, but I just said that because I thought I could. So I said, I make metal art. You think I could bring something by? And it was like 3 weeks later, I got a call back. I thought she just ignored it, but I got a call back, and she was like, hey, Ben, bring it by. And I was like, oh, crap. And I just like literally made something that weekend. And on Monday, I brought it over there. She liked it. She bought it. It was just a couple $100. And then she was, I told her, I was like, I do glass art. And she's like, oh my God, I love glass art. And she's like, come with me. And she drove me across the street and brought me into this space, which is this really probably 5,000 square foot space. She's like, you wanna work here and blow glass? I was like, you got it. It was the universe just coming for me. It was so cool. And so yeah, we got along great. She liked what I had to say, and so that's how I started my shop there. And it's been about 3.5, 4 years now, and It's just been the best thing ever for me because it's like church for me. When I go in there, I feel so, you know, like good about it, and I'm so grateful to have that space to work. And yeah. What was your question, Noah?
It looks like you had a lot of work to make that already.
Oh yeah, that was a lot of work. That took a couple years. Right there. Yeah, do you have a question?
Yeah. Do you ever get tired of making glass sometimes?
Yeah, actually I do get tired. You know, it can be really hard work. And then sometimes when you make something, it just breaks, you know, like because maybe I messed up or maybe the equipment messed up, but sometimes it just breaks. It gets really hard, frustrating, but you just gotta do it again until you get it right. So, yeah.
So here's your technique. Do you blow glass and do torch work? Do you do a combination of?
I just blow glass. I don't try to.
Those
What?
are all blown.
Yeah, which is kind of interesting because almost everything here is solid, actually.
That's what I
So it's like, why none of it looks blown. I should have brought some actual like vessels maybe to like, but it's interesting because so all the color on here is blown, right? All the color that you see is blown out into a vessel, like a hollow shaped cup of different sizes, depending, you know, like for these, the cup will just be small. For something like this, the cup's actually bigger. And then, so for something solid, you blow out the color, because, you know, if you want the color density to be lighter, it has to be blown out so it thins. And then I'll stuff it with solid glass. These are kind of interesting because I'll stuff it actually with another bubble, and then I'll blow it out into a bigger cylinder. And then once it's cooled, I'll cut the bottom of the cylinder off so it's a two-sided hollow cylinder. And then you cut the middle of it vertically, and then you actually unroll it. It's like how they actually made like window panes back in the day. But in this case, I unrolled it and then twisted it again, which is kind of crazy because, you know, they're about 2 feet long, and it's on a stick that's 5 feet long. So it's like out there, you know, and it feels so much heavier, and it's like moving, and it's pretty crazy stuff. But yeah, everything's actually starts blown, and then I finished it solid, you know, like the colors on the gecko are blown out, thinned out, stretched, and then I stuff it with solid glass and then make it. And for the longest time, I was really just into blown work. I would just make vessels, and, you know, that was like fun to me, just blow out a little vase. But for some reason, I don't know, over the years, I've just kind of slowly been working more solid glass, and it's a little different, but yeah.
Are you still working with assistants? Because some of the stuff you're doing, like,
Yeah.
really heavy and bigger, and how do you,
Yeah.
instead of just calling on, like,
Pretty much everything,
people
it's,
you rely
yeah.
on that-
Yeah, I got like four different guys that I kind of just rotate through because it's all just part-time, so everyone has other stuff going on. But yeah, a lot of stuff definitely have to have, you know, 1 or 2 guys help you just to manage, you know, the heat. Because sometimes you just have people block the heat for you or manage. Yeah, I mean, it's just not with their bodies, but like with other.
Stand there.
Yeah, I don't pay them enough to do that. Yeah, yeah. Last year I had like a big anchor here, and that was like 5 people. I actually have video online on my YouTube channel if anyone else make an anchor. But yeah, there's most things take multiple people, except when I like make something just like one of these. I can do that by myself. You had a question?
Oh, I thought it was interesting. You said you moved here because of the glass scene, and I'm just, I don't know, like all that scene, but has it changed since then, or is it still the same? Or I was just kind of curious.
Yeah, it's changed a
Would
lot.
people still move here for that reason, do you think? Or?
I don't think so. I mean,
So-
yeah, like in 2007 there was the Eugene Glass School, which they were just a nonprofit public place. They had classes there every week, different renters, you know, 'cause they had pretty big space where they could rent this space, because it's really hard to have your own glass shop for furnace work because it requires just a lot of energy. But a lot of those, like that place closed in like 2012. And then the few shops that are here now are all just private shops. So it's really hard. You can't just really look online, hey, where can I blow glass in Eugene? That's hard to do. But for flame working, whereas flame working is where you just kind of sit at a table and you can manipulate the glass by actually holding one end of it and just heating the other end. There's more of that, you know, because that's like pipe making and stuff. So obviously, Eugene, there's a lot of pipes around here, and you could probably find a way to get in the door to learn flame working easier than furnace work. And honestly, if I was going to learn furnace work now, I'd probably have to go to Seattle or something, because there's just more opportunity there to actually take classes and learn. And yeah.
How are they very hard made? How do they very come out very hard?
Well, it's all pretty hard. I don't know. Yeah, it's all hard. You remember. I've been teaching. Noah's the youngest glass blower in the world right now.
The lizard's really cool, gecko. How'd you get all those colors? Just different?
Well, glass color comes in like a few different forms. It comes in like powder, it comes in frit, which is like sprinkles, or it comes in like solid bar. And so in this case, I just took the solid bar and I kind of just swipe it onto a bubble. I'll use different colors, swipe it on like 4 or 5 different spots, and then blow it out so the color thins out, and then stick it on there. The thing I like most about it, I guess, is just the fact that I got it on the wall without really seeing, you know, I mean, you could look behind it and see where it's connected, but yeah, I just really like trying to find ways to display it, you know. Even like making like the shelves. I made these shelves too, and just, yeah, using metal as a tool to...
And the shelf is included with each of the pieces that it's displayed with?
You can definitely have the shelf if you want the glass.
That's for your stands, and so do you tend to make the glass first and then the stands, or vice versa, or the mix?
Yeah, always make because every stand is going to be different, whether, you know, this twists that way or that twists that way. So yeah, I'll always make the glass first, and then just, you know, sit on it, think about it for a while, you know. Yeah, I do so much thinking that sometimes I think like I'm not doing anything, but, you know, I think most artists probably know, like, you have to just really, like, in order to get to the final product, you almost have to think your way there first and then reverse engineer it. So yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. Well, no, but thank you guys for coming, and if you want to look around.
And do take him up on a tour of his shop if you're curious about it, because we've been to his shop and it's a really cool place to see the process of how he makes this stuff and the equipment. And
Yeah.
his contact info is where?
It's
BenSilverStudios.com.
Yeah.
Silverstudios.com.
He is not within the boundaries of the art hop. He's a little bit further, just past, so he's not going to be in the art hop. So
And escape.
yeah, you have to skip your way on over there. So yeah, BenSilverStudios.com, and hopefully you'll hang out for just a little bit if anybody wants to talk to you.
Yeah.
Like I said, happy birthday Art Hop, happy birthday Oblivion Gallery.